It's September, new commanders have been released in Rise of Kingdoms since my last open field rating, and just a few of you asked me to make a new top open field video. This time I have decided to tell you the top 5 marches that you should use in the open field, but with 3 different variants. We will speak about a full damage option for the big boys out there, a damage and support option for mid-spender players who have an average equipment, and finally a budget value option for those players who don't spend money in the game or are very low spenders. This video will include these commanders on the screen. At the end, we will speak about some alternative pairings which I don't normally speak about that must be addressed for the sake of completeness. This rating comes from weeks of testings, analysis and discussion with the community, and I hope you will find it helpful. If you enjoy my content, consider supporting the channel by leaving a like and subscribing. It's 100% free and you can always unsubscribe later. Let's get into it. Hey gamers, welcome back to my channel and to another Rise of Kingdoms video. Today we will speak about a very popular topic which pretty much everyone is interested in. You guys enjoyed a lot my last 2 videos and I thought it was about time to update the ratings. Let's start off directly with the best 5 marches setup to deal the most damage to your enemies. This setup consists in 1 cavalry march, 1 infantry march, 1 leadership march and 2 archer marches. The order in which you invest in the commanders is not strictly relevant for this video. If you want to get more info on the commander investment order, you can check this other video, the card is up on the top. The cavalry march is of course Zhang Yu and William. It's so far the only cavalry march that offers a double AoE value, both from Zhang and William, together with great debuffs and buff technologies. It's squishy, I know, but it's because it's very strong and everyone focuses it down immediately. If it wasn't great, people will not target it immediately as soon as it runs on the field. Number 2, the infantry march, is Guan Yu and Leonidas, or alternatively CJ. Both Leonidas and CJ have very good AoE value. The extra tankiness offered by Leonidas is balanced out by the attack output of CJ and especially his march speed. For me, those 2 combos are somehow specular in the pros and cons. The choice is really up to you and your commander planning. Consider that CJ must be maxed out while Leo could stay at 5511 even if not in this full damage open field setup. All of the commanders I'm mentioning now should be maxed in this case. We will speak about budget options in the other 2 configurations. So number 2, Guan Yu and Leonidas or CJ. Number 3, we have a leadership march, Trajan and Harold. We have spoken many times about Trajan on this channel, the value that he brings on the field, and the fact that lately he's almost become a must-have in open. Having Harold as secondary commander, you will bring 80% infantry, 10% archers and 10% cavalry. If you would like to discover more important details about Trajan, such as how to balance the troops out according to the civilization, check this video out, card up on the top. Number 4, our first archer march, full 5 targets AoE output. I am speaking about Nebuchadnezzar and YSG. This combo has no particular notes on buffs or debuffs, but the high skill damage involving 5 targets per skill is so good that you don't need to worry about that. Leave it to your allies and your other marches to support you. Number 5, our second archer march, the newly released Amanitor paired up with Artemisia. She's so good to smash the guans on the wall that you don't even need to worry about them anymore. She cannot be silenced, she has increased damage against infantry, and we have a double AoE value. It's a great combo to have on a full damage output setup. Again, this is pure AoE, which is something that archers do very well, but you don't need to worry about the rest. Amani also has some very effective rage control, which is very good against pretty much anyone, and considering the fact that she cannot be silenced, that's great value. To recap, this is the top 5 open field marches setup for a full damage player. Zhang Yu and William, Guan Yu and Leonidas or CJ, Trajan and Harold, Nebu and YSG, Amanitor and Artemisia. We go now over the second option for a top open field setup, the damage and support configuration. This consists as well of 1 cavalry march, 1 infantry march, 1 leadership march and 2 archer marches. The first one is Saladin at 5551 and William. Differently from Zhang Yu and William, here you can save 310 sculptures off Saladin and eventually off William as well and leave him at 5551 too, even if in this setup I would suggest to max him out. The benefit of using Saladin as primary commander instead of Zhang Yu is that you are not that squishy anymore. You have less AoE value, yes, but you can support your allies better by staying longer on the field thanks to a great deal of skill damage reduction and some nice debuff benefits coming from Saladin. The second march is Guan Yu and Alexander the Great, probably one of the most used marches in Rise of Kingdoms, especially by OG players who maxed out Alex in the early days. Spoiler alert, everyone should max out Alex. He's great not only by name. Okay, that was a dog shit joke, my apologies. Differently from Guan and Leo, you will be faster, your damage output cannot be debuffed, you provide shields to some of your allies, and generally this march is very solid all around. The third one is again Trajan, but this time not with Harold, but with Aethelflaed. She's literally one of the best commanders in the game, also because it's free and everyone can obtain her. This march is very supportive thanks to the many debuffs that Aethelflaed provides on the field and has also great AoE value. Nothing more to say, many top players use this already and it works brilliantly. The fourth is once again Nebu and YSG, with the option of using Ramses as primary instead Nebu in case you're already invested on Ramses. Ramses can be used at 5551 already and has great skill damage reduction, and if he's expertised, can help you cut healings from a bunch of marches on the field. The number 5 is another archer march, but this time we are talking about Artemisia primary at 5515 minimum with Tomiris secondary. Tomiris helps all of your other marches and your allied marches to literally melt down everything you target. The small purple symbol with the number of poison stacks will appear on top of the focused commander, helping all the players around you understanding who to attack at any given time. You can receive a great help with the daily chests in the process of maxing Tomiris out, so your investment will be greatly reduced proportionally to the amount of chests you purchase. To recap, the top 5 open field marches for a damage and support player are Saladin and William, Guan and Alex, Trajan and Aethelflaed, Nebu or Ramses and YSG, Artemisia and Tomiris. Let's now go over to the budget solution, which is directed to our free-to-play and low-spender players out there, which will still consent them to have a very decent role in open field without having to use the credit card. We will talk about 1 cavalry march, 2 infantry marches, 1 leadership march and 1 archer march with reduced investments. The first one is Saladin and William once again, with both Saladin and William skill locked at 5551, saving already 620 sculptures off the investment. The second march is the first of the 2 infantry I will be proposing. I'm talking about Guan Yu and Leonidas, with Guan Yu at 5155 and Leonidas at 5511. If you wish to know the best way to get a so-called hole in your skill spread, like in the case of Guan, and which is the best way to do that, I have published a video explaining that topic. Check the card up on the top. Here you will need to invest only 190 sculptures on your Leonidas, which is one of the very best commanders, if not the best one, at 5511, and you can potentially save up to 310 sculptures off your Guan Yu investment, even if probably you will need to go to 5255 or 5355 on your Guan, because spoiler alert, getting Guan to 5155 is very difficult. We are talking about around 2% chance. 1 player out of 50 will manage to get that. Potentially though, we already saved 1,430 legendary sculptures. You're welcome. The third march and the second infantry of this setup we will be talking about is Alex and YSG. It's very likely that you invested on both these commanders already and maxed them out. Alex and YSG with full infantry and the right talent tree, which you can find on my Discord, by the way, link to join down below, is still very usable up to this day, and you should really consider doing that. The fourth march is a leadership one, and it's the same as the previous setup. Trajan and Adelflaed. You will only need to invest in Trajan because Adelflaed is free and you don't need to worry about her at all. The fifth and final march is an archer march and once again Artemisia and Tomiris. If you are a low spender, you can purchase the $1 chest every single day and try to get a few sculptures, while you can leave your Artemisia to 5515. Again, check the video I spoke about before to know the odds of doing that, and save up to another 310 sculptures to invest on other commanders of your choice. To recap, for the budget option we have Saladin and William, both 5551, 15155 plus Leo 5511, Alex and YSG, Trajan and Adelflaed, Artemisia 5515, and Tomiris. We now analyze the other options we haven't talked about, which can surely be both alternative options to your setup or added marches in case you unlock your 6th and 7th march queue with the Season of Conquest technology. First of all, please stop. I can already hear you typing on the keyboard. Wick, where is Attila and Takeda? I have gotten 17 trillion kills in KVK. Shouldn't you mention that in the open field pairings? Just breathe and wait a second. What is the purpose of the open field? Okay, you like to get your kills, and undoubtedly a well-equipped Attila and Takeda is the best way to get your kills still in September 2021. But each fight lasts on average 50% longer in time, and in my personal opinion, the real purpose of the open field is to clear the enemies out before they send your butt back home. And clearing them out quickly also improves your reports, by the way. So yeah, I would keep Attila and Takeda as an alternative march if your goal is to get your kills, but for what I am concerned, only free-to-play and low spenders should consider using Attila and Takeda. The rest of the players should prefer something more altruistic, so to say, for your team. The second march we should speak about is a great support march involving Constantine. Constantine is great as a support commander, and at least one player every 3 or 4 should consider bringing one on the field. You have different options: Alex and Constantine, Constantine and Joan of Arc, and Constantine and Mulan. Your Constantine will start being usable from 5511 with 190 sculptures investment, and the same thing is for Mulan, which you can find in the gold chests, and I highly suggest not to waste your sculptures there. You can see that my Mulan is 5512 and I never invested a single sculpture on her. On a side note, maxing out the legendary commanders entirely with gold chests is quite a long process, because even if the in-game details describe the possibilities to obtain legendary commander sculptures from the chests, we all know that the integration and gathering commanders will pop up more frequently. Thanks, Lilith. Anyway, it took me good 800 days to max out my Julius Caesar and Mehmed with the gold chests, and I bought some daily chests for them as well, and almost 1000 days for my Frederick I. Okay, we have spoken about Attila and Takeda, some options with Constantine. Let's look at the final variants. Other combos like Charles Martel and Harold, Richard and Alex, Cyrus and Nebu, Artemisia and Cyrus, Guan Yu and YSG are all very viable, depending on the type of player you are. If you are an archer main, for example, you can have 4 archer marches: Ramses and YSG, Cyrus and Nebu, Artemisia and Amani, Edward and Tomiris. If you're an infantry main, you might want to use, for example, Guan and Leo, Alex and CJ, and Charles and Harold. If you're a cavalry main, you will probably use Saladin and William, Zhang Yu and Chandragupta, and Attila and Takeda. Possibilities are so many. I have given you some hints and expressed my preferences for a top 5 marches setup, giving you various configurations basing on the player's role and possibilities. I hope you enjoyed this video. If yes, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I will see you on the next one. Ciao!